Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson and Chuck Schultz, and you're with the 505 on Racing Show live from New York. Tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the All-Star race down in Charlotte, North Carolina. We got the Whelen Modified Tour, and we're going to take a look back at Dick Trickle, one of the last survivors, well, not survivors, no one was, but one of those guys that just beat and bang and what racing was all about.
Old
back
timers.
in those days.
The old time race.
Old time. I'm telling you, guys today wouldn't be able to race with him because they'd be crying. I'm telling you, I don't mean that in a bad way. But anyway, that's tonight's show, and we're going to take a break. And when you come back, you'll be watching the 505 on Racing Show, and you're going to get into this low stuff with the All-Star race when we come back.
Inravio.com.
Hello, everybody. Here, Lowe's. Lowe's, wow. Hasn't been called Lowe's in a long time. Charlotte Motor Speedway,
Charlotte Motor Speedway.
the All-Star race.
I guess they didn't get the extra money.
Yeah, yeah.
Lowe's Motor Speedway is out of the question. It's the Larson Motor Speedway. Did you put your $5 million up? for the race?
You know, if I had $5 million, I'd end up with $2 million because it costs a lot to go racing, whether you own the place or drive at the place. But the All-Star race was quite interesting, to
Yes.
say the least. The stage racing or the qualifying, I mean, most of the guys got in by past champions. And
The
things,
Open, they had the Open
right? Then they
going.
had the Open.
And they
had
were
a
beating and
fan
banging.
vote. Yeah.
Very similar to a heat race.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
You know, when you look at
no
that,
consi though. Huh?
Yeah, no consi. No consi. But when you watch the race, it was a non-points race. And you know they built cars just for the event. So
Absolutely. It's
you
a $1
tear
million
them up,
race.
beat them up.
Yeah, it's $1 million race. And you know what? It might not be the points thing that they're looking for, but it's it's another TV event. And it's more for the sponsor.
Yeah. And when you
And
look
it's right
at
around the corner for most of the teams. It's right around the corner
Oh,
for
yeah,
most
well,
of the teams.
there's
And it's
only
just
a
like,
couple
hey,
of
let's
teams
go over there and race today.
Yeah, I think the furthest team would be Denny Hamlin's team because they're out of Virginia. Well, he's out of Virginia, I should say.
Yeah.
But most of the teams that were there are within an hour of the racetrack. Maybe
Yeah,
90
so it's not
minutes.
like the tour across the country to make it
Yeah,
happen.
it's not like going to Sonoma,
No.
Vegas.
Yeah, so why not?
Yeah. So it was an interesting event, but let's take a look at the results there. And we'll talk about that as we move on forward with this. The Kyle Larson was the winner, followed by Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch was third. Joey Logano was fourth. Bubba Wallace with a top five out of that. Eric Almirola was sixth. Austin Dillon seventh. Alex Bowman eighth. William Byron ninth. And Martin Truex Jr. rounding out the top 10. And how they all got into that, again, it was based on past champions and things of that nature. But there was a couple of guys that had to race their way in, like Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace. He was happy to get that 5, boy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that made his year and made the team's year. It made their 2 years.
And
I got a big hug from Ryan Blaney there. He was it was a very tearful interview. And you know what? That's great. It was good to see somebody, especially him, to make that happen.
So I happen to know Bubba Wallace on a personal level, and the guy wears his emotions on his sleeve. And there was a lot of talk the last couple of weeks how Richard Petty Motorsports was closing, and we're getting a new driver, and it was just, I'm going to call them the fence grabbers, just talking smack, because they think they could stir the pot like that. And even though it's called Richard Petty Motorsports, Richard Petty has no financial involvement with the team. Basically, they're using his name. He's around, and it's, there's been a Petty in NASCAR since the 50s.
Since forever.
And, when you take a look at the struggles that the team has had, this year, like you said, that was a big win in that stage race.
That was a pat on the back. That was, okay, we're doing the right thing, we're on the right path, we're on our way.
Right.
You know, and when you're racing, you know, it's like we talked about last time, you know, with Jimmy Reddick Jr. I mean, if he didn't take that win down, I mean, it was a shame. And,
Right.
you know, this is a guy who puts his all, and he's a Saturday guy, but he puts his all into what
Yeah.
he's doing. And you want a little, you know, a little something. Show me that I know what I'm doing. Show me
Exactly.
that I'm on the right path. Keep doing that, you know.
Yeah.
Pat on the back. Yeah, you're doing great. Keep going.
Yeah, and Jimmy Reddick, for those who know, he's a super pro truck driver at Long Island's Riverhead Raceway. And I can remember, if not correctly, last season, he was having some troubles with just
Set up
finishing,
and
staying up,
everything.
and
Yeah.
setups, and he got out of the truck after a feature and disappointing to him finish. He was ready to quit. Actually, it was after practice. He was ready to load up and go home, and he was just that frustrated. For those who never raced, wouldn't understand that. They wouldn't understand.
You know, you put your heart and your soul into these things. Besides the amount of money that you slap into this, and
Yeah.
it's for most of the race teams, it's not a person. It's a team, and when I say team, it's a whole family.
Right.
And when I say family, it's friends, it's everybody. It's like, you know, everybody that goes to the track with you, they were all vested.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I can remember, and I'll tell you what, you know, you know, he was always right there. Pete Sindone, you know him.
Oh, yeah.
And he raced with me, and we had a really big sponsor. We had a radio station here in the island. Not to take this tangent, but and they would, you know, I would call in on Monday morning. Hey, how'd you guys do? Did you win? No, we didn't win. We came in sixth. Oh, you didn't win, and then they would make fun of me because I didn't win.
Right.
You know, they'd have Mr. Magoo with the road hog, you know, the whole thing, and they'd make fun of me right after I hung up. So, and he would call me, and he wanted to go down to that radio station, something fierce, because, you know, again, it's, you know, it's a lot of heart and soul into that. A lot of heart and soul.
And, you know, I remember when I was just recently down in Dover, Delaware, at the Dover International Speedway, and talking on the side to Bubba after hours, and we talked about sponsorship. We talked about, you know, what it costs to run. And although he couldn't contractually talk to us, but we talked. And they were concerned or what was going to go on. As if you notice, every week it's a different sponsor. And that's a tough way to go, you know, week to week. You know, the marketing people are in the offices and pounding the pavement, you know, trying to get sponsors.
Trying to get it to happen, you know, and that's one of the things that people don't understand. Like, you know, that's why even when I called and I talked to those guys on the radio, hey, we had a sixth place finish. We were very happy about that.
Right.
Simply because at the time there were 45 cars out there.
Yep.
And we went out for, I forget if it was practice or heat race, whatever else, and we blew a clutch. We had to drop the transmission. We had to put a clutch in this thing to get out for the heat race in order to qualify for the feature, and we made that happen.
Right.
So we were ecstatic that we had a sixth place finish,
Yeah.
especially after we had a flat tire like early on in the race. I think it was a 25 lapper or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were ecstatic with that. So, you know, when you see a Bubba Wallace finish fifth, you don't know all the other things that had to happen behind the scenes just for him to get that car to the track.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stars that have to align in
Yep.
order for you to get there to that fifth place.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win, you know, and that's why when I called up with that sixth place finish, I was explaining to them what they had no clue. And I even invited them down to the track. Still, they don't have any, they didn't want to come down, but they didn't want to be at the track. But
Right.
they didn't have a clue how big of a deal that was.
Nah. Yeah,
You know.
and he almost won the first stage in the 24. You
Yeah.
know, pushed him up and kind of not took him out, but you know,
Give him a
busted him
little,
up.
yeah, give him a little bump.
But that was another good showing because he didn't back down to that. He gave it right back. Unfortunately,
He was hungry.
Yeah,
He was hungry.
and he was hungry, and that's what's missing, I think, from the sport, at least at the higher levels. They're not hungry. You know, they're under contract, most of them, and they get a paycheck every week, no matter how they finish. You know, some of them have bonuses for wins and poles. But years ago, when they were traveling all over the country, running 50 races a year, how you finished was how you paid your bills. at home.
That was correct. But now, you know how they say a loose car is a fast car, right?
Right.
Well, the problem with that, it also exists that, you know, these cars don't handle like Dick Trickle's day.
Right.
You know, I mean, of course, you know, everybody, you know, watching us, I'm sure that was pretty much, you know, everybody had to see Days of Thunder at this point.
Right.
You know, and of course, you had Cole Trickle there, you know, Dick Trickle memorabilia.
Yeah.
But at the same token, you know, this is what they used to beat and bang back then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at Cale Yarbrough
And Donnie Allison.
and Donnie Allison and Petty and DW just beating and banging to get across the start finish line.
Yeah.
And those tires were off the ground when they were hitting. They weren't just like rubbing.
Right.
They were hitting.
They were
beating and banging.
At
because-
200 miles an hour.
At 200 miles an hour because they could throw the car like that.
Yes.
You can't do that
No,
today.
you can't. They're so sensitive, and the tires that they use today are not the same tires that they used years ago. And you know, the whole sport is totally different.
It's a different animal
It's
now.
a different animal. And then, you know, for those who didn't watch the race, the emotions on this, again, is a non-points race. And Clint Boyer attacks Ryan Newman at the end. I mean, he's sitting in his car. Obviously, the helmet's off. You got to, you know, cool down a little bit. And, you know, Clint Boyer goes over, and he must have threw 8 or 9 punches to the side of Ryan Newman's head before the officials and safety crew, and we have a picture of that.
And they
He's
got
just-
there before they even got there and pulled them out.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Pulled them off the car. But you know what? I mean, of course, you know, there was a little bit of a tiff on the track.
Absolutely.
So tit for tat and this one, and it was a little Saturday night short track. And then,
Exactly.
you know, the only difference was there was no 4x4 involved.
Right. Exactly.
And if you're watching, you know, he knows who he is.
Yep.
You know.
And I know NASCAR's warned both of them that no more of this nonsense going to go on. Similar to like that movie,
Yeah.
Days of Thunder.
No more of this nonsense is going to go on. You have something, Yai?
Yeah. Like in Days of Thunder when they sat down, Rowdy and Cole
Yeah.
Trickle, and said, you know, if you guys want to make yourself a pancake, and it's not going to be on my racetrack, so to speak. And that stuff happened.
You know what? That happened back in '76, and that
It
was a
did.
big thing.
It did.
That was one of those miracle things that just happened to happen.
Yeah.
And when it did, it was like, oh, this worked well.
This worked well.
You know,
Yeah.
that wasn't what we expected. You know, but then they started to realize that there's a lot of race fans out there that care more about the crashing and the banging
Right.
and the beating up on, you know, turn one,
Yeah.
the brawl, right?
Oh, yeah. But, you know, when you interviewed Ryan Newman at the end, he was very calm, and he was drinking his, you know, his nice beverage. and-
Yeah, you know. But you could see how red he was. He just
Oh,
got
yeah.
out of the race car. But
He got a race shot, and
Yeah, you know, he was wound up.
yeah,
little
a
bit.
couple of those
He
shots
was wound up.
landed that, you know, were thrown.
No, you know, he probably had his helmet on or off. Who knows? I don't know.
But, you know, then
But you
they,
know, it's a good thing Clint Boyer had his helmet on because
It is.
Ryan's a big guy.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I
he's
don't
a
know
big-
how that would. I don't know how it would have panned
Nah,
out.
it would've
'cause he
been
doesn't
ugly.
seem like. Yeah, he seems like he would be a loose cannon if you would have got him started.
Yeah.
Light
And-
his fuse, and that would have been it.
Oh, yeah. And when they interviewed Clint Boyer, I
And
happened
he
to.
was actually very professional.
He was.
He went right on with, you know, hey, the Bubba car was running really good. Boy, I tell you, can't say enough about this car and this crew, man.
Oh, yeah.
She ran like a spotted ape all day. You
Yeah.
know?
That's from that album. But you know what he said? He goes, from where I come from, that deserves a punch in the nose.
He said a poke.
A poke in the nose, that's right.
Poke in the
A poke in the nose.
And that's what he got. And he walked away. All right.
But yeah, you know, they got called to the big trailer there.
See, where I come from, normally you get out of your car and the track crew chases you across the track.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they corner you, and then you grab a 4x4 and chase them across the track.
Yeah.
Right.
My tool of choice was a jack handle. 'Cause
Oh,
it was,
yeah, I never
it was
did a
light.
tool. I never did a tool of choice.
Yeah.
My tool of choice was you. Tell them.
Yeah. You tell them. Yeah, but that's what happened. There's a race that paid $1 million to win, and there's only one guy getting $1 million. Everybody else is getting, you know, the secondary money.
Yeah, secondary money. $9,450 million.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but you know, it's bragging rights.
Just to
It's-
show
it's, It's the bragging rights.
Yeah.
and that's what you want.
And then he's in for what, the next 10 years or something?
something like that. Yeah, like automatically puts them in.
Yeah.
You know, and it just.
So another couple of years, and basically you won't have to qualify. There'll be one spot to qualify for.
Well,
Everybody will be in there.
you know, they used to call it the Winston Open way back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was a whole different,
Feel.
yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's there really is no IROC race anymore,
No,
right?
no.
So the All-Stars, you kind of always look forward to the IROC race, even though
Yes.
it's kind of, cars was very similar to what we have right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they'd get in those cars and they'd go nose and tail and they would just drive, and whoever was in first, that was it. And then you'd have the NASCAR guys would gang up on the open wheel guys, and
Yep.
the open wheel guys would friend somebody and get in the middle of Earnhardt and Mark Martin, and that three of them would push them to the front, and then of course at the end it was all over. Mark Martin and Earnhardt would go by or something,
Yep.
that whole gag. But it was very similar to the kind of cars we have now,
Very similar.
where they were made exactly the same. There
Yes.
was no difference.
Nothing.
I mean, and it was like nose to tail, nose to tail, nose to tail the whole race,
Yep.
and it became a little bit of a freight train.
It did.
Which is very similar to what you have now. You don't have racing where those days where I'll never forget 5 laps left to go at Daytona, and Earnhardt comes in for new tires. I'm like, and he's in 5th place.
Yep.
I'm like, 5th place, 4th place, whatever. And I'm like, what is he doing? But he knew the tires he had were done. It's nothing he
Yeah.
could do with them.
At that point, you have nothing to
And
lose.
I'll tell you what, in 5 laps, damn if he didn't finish second.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
I was like, he cut through there like a hot knife through butter.
Oh,
Just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
And one of the
And
things
and
back
by
then,
the time
too,
he got there, his tires were shot. He couldn't get to first place.
one of the things they did back then too is lead lap cars were in one line, lap cars in another.
Yeah.
So he got to line up, of course, with the lead lap cars, and back then you had a lot of cars down. Now it's a double fire restart. So
And they were down like 35 laps,
Yep.
24 laps.
Exactly.
And now you get the lucky dog where they put people back up front.
Yeah, which
which
I'm not a fan
which is nice because in a way, because if you're 1 lap down, okay.
Right.
If you had a bad, you had a little bit of a bad
happens.
take. It's a do-over.
Right. Exactly. But interesting race, very interesting race, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I actually watched it.
Did you fall asleep?
No,
Then I guess it's a good race.
I didn't fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep. Well, I was rooting for Bubba.
Oh, well.
And I guess it's different when you have somebody you're rooting for. I mean, I love it. And like Jay Slice is saying it in the chat room, that's what's missing in today's NASCAR is the raw driver emotions. It's missing.
Well, that I think I think there's plenty of personality. I just don't know if they're the right personality.
Exactly.
You
Yeah, I think Jeff Gordon changed a lot with that milk and cookies.
I think you're
Persona.
right. Yeah, that's.
Well,
I don't know. You think he changed it, or was the teams were pushing everybody that way?
But it was. You could look at. I had watched a documentary on Jeff Gordon and how when they looked at the Jeff Gordon fans and they looked at the Dale Earnhardt fans, it was like the spectrum was like this.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt. I mean,
You had the working
working
union guy,
Dale Earnhardt fan.
Beer and beef jerky guys.
That's
and-
it. My windshield is wet. No problem. I'm
Yeah.
going to hold on to the steering wheel with one hand, hop out on the window, and I'm going to clean it myself.
Yeah.
You know?
And here's a kid came out of open wheel cars. in
Sterling Mullen
California.
hopping out, pulling out his own fender
Pulling out
on the
his own
track,
fender, yeah.
hopping back in.
Hopping back
Wait
in.
a minute. Hang on. Time out.
Get back in that car. Yeah. Old Buster, when he used to drive the pace car, caution car, as they call it. And he jumps. I never saw that guy move so fast. Just get back in that car. But anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the results from the Gander Outdoor Truck Series when we come back.
We'll take a gander.
Hey,
we're
what's
set
oh?
up.
I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're set it up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Welcome back. We're going to take a gander at those results. If nothing else, we have fun here.
If when Monster Energy drink leaves NASCAR, which it may happen, and let's say Coca-Cola sponsored the series, it would be called the Coke Cup. How does that sound?
You think it would be called the Coke Cup? They wouldn't go Coca-Cola Cup?
It's too much to say.
CC Cup?
The CC Cup.
The C Cup?
Where do we come up with this stuff?
We're just being realistic, that's all. We're marketing buzzsaws over here, you know. Hashing it out. We get 10% anything you use. Just inbox us and we'll send whatever you need down your way.
Oh, yes. Anyway, the Gander Outdoor Truck Series in NASCAR ran this weekend as well. I watched that race a little bit, not all of it, but of course Kyle Busch won. And according to the licensing rules in the NASCAR Top 3 Series, that was his last race in that series for this season. We're only allowed to do 6. So that was his 6th, and he's just, he's having the last few years, awesome.
Monster.
Monster.
Monster. That was no pun intended.
No.
But yeah, he's having a monster year. I mean, and you know what? We're going to look back on this as much as everybody hates him, like they hated Earnhardt. We're going to look back and go, "Wow, we were there for this."
Yeah. Brennan Poole was 2nd. Stuart Friesen was 3rd. Ben Rhodes was 4th. Matt Crafton was 5th. Austin Hill 6th. Todd Gilliland was 7th. Anthony Alfredo 8th. Grant Enfinger 9th, and Ross Chasen rounding out the top 10. When they allowed the higher series guys to run in the truck series, and I don't think that's what that truck series was designed for.
No, I don't think so.
I think it was.
I don't think they should be. They should pick one or the other.
Right. And
now, if there's a weekend where they're not racing
that's
Cup,
a whole other story. Yep.
Then they can race anything they want.
Yeah.
But they get one race a weekend.
Right.
And I see this at the local track too, where guys will come out there with 3-4 different cars.
Right.
And they'll be in a car for every division.
Right.
I don't think that's right.
That's not right. And the Cup and the Xfinity guys, drivers, I should say, not guys, when they race in the truck series, they don't get any points for it. So basically what they're doing is taking points away from a driver
The
who
regulars.
races every event. And that's where it's not. And I know that little new regime a couple of years back came in and people complaining. And, those guys shouldn't be in the truck series. So let's make it so maybe they won't. Let's make it so they get 0 points.
That's not going to stop them because they'll just take the win walk away with the money.
A racer will hop in a car for a piece of plastic. They don't care what the money is. They don't care if there's no points. They
Well,
just want to
ultimately, the name of the game is they want to see what the track is like, and
Right.
they get extra seat time just
Right.
to bring them into the big race.
Yeah.
I know exactly what the story is. But this should be limited to, hey, if you want to run a truck race, fine, but that's all you're running.
Right. That's right.
So you pick and choose.
And
I mean, that was Ron Hornaday's thing back in the day when the truck division started.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't get enough trucks, so they were jonesing to get anybody in there.
Yep.
There were guys that would take a couple of laps, take the green flag, take a couple of laps, wind up with, $5,000, whatever it was, $10,000. So
Yeah.
on some of the tracks, they would give you more money because you had to tow across the country.
Yep.
And, even with a backup truck, and then just park it,
Yeah.
just to get the extra money.
I can
They
remember.
go through one set of tires a year.
That's it. I can remember sitting in your shop there and talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like, you know what? If we had a truck, we'd start and park, and we'd be the only people there making money.
That's it.
But I know they don't like starting parkers, and I know the late Teddy Christopher ran cup cars, but he would always pull out after 10, 20 laps. The official reason was handling, but that was by plan, instead of just parking it, because you have to have a reason.
Yeah.
So and I know when I worked pit road at some of the top series, and I had to go up to a driver who pulled out, and they had a hand in their transponder, and I would have to, I had a reason out, and they would tell me overheating, transmission. Whenever they said handling, I knew that they was just there to do laps and get some points.
They could virtually say anything. What are you going to know?
Yeah, exactly.
We slipped a gear.
Yeah. I mean, if they're all mangled up and the
Different story.
yeah, then you know. Accident. But yeah, we had to write that down, call it to the tower. Car number 52, out, handling. We had to call it up, okay.
Hey, car number 52 out, overloaded bank account. Yep, overloaded bank account, yep.
Yeah, is that a money?
He's the first one standing at the window for the check.
He has to get home. He wants to beat the traffic.
I'm going to beat the traffic. I'm going to catch the ferry back.
Oh, I got to catch the ferry. It's the last one. I got to catch it. I have a reservation. Oh, yes. I used to get so upset when I missed the ferry coming home. I used to get so upset, and because then you had to, drive around, and once you hit that sign that said, "Welcome to New York,"
Oh, yeah.
and got online.
Well, we didn't do a lot of that. We did the ferry, went to Waterford, and
But
that was always a tough ball.
The truck series when it first came out, it was guys that were spiraling down and kids coming in.
Yeah, but they didn't have enough
They
trucks.
didn't have
They
enough.
were lucky to come up with 20 trucks.
Right.
Lucky to come up with 20 trucks, and this was a big division.
Yeah.
And at the time, the guy who was selling his truck, he's like, it's not worth it to me. I'm selling a truck. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And we were looking at it. It was out in Vegas. Actually, already had our number on the side.
Yeah.
It's all set to go.
Yeah.
All I had to do was buy it and put my name on it.
That's it.
And that was it.
We're ready
And
to
the
rock.
And a sponsor, we were ready to go.
Yeah. But when I was at Dover and I was walking around the truck garage. They were kids. I know I'm old now, but they were kids.
They're still kids. I mean, look at Kyle Lawson.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's got to get home early because his mom doesn't let him out past 10 o'clock. So it's right. You listen. You could ride your bike to the racetrack so long as it's on the same side as the house.
Yeah.
I don't want you crossing the
Don't
street.
cross the street. That's it.
You know what I mean?
And,
But mom, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I'm just an old guy.
there were a lot of guys that I used to speed like that. They ride their bike and their mother give them a bologna sandwich. Don't cross 111. Stay on this side.
That's right. You got to stay on this side of the street.
Yep.
Don't go past Merrick Road. You got to be
don't-
over here. I heard that all my life.
Don't go. That's right. Wow. Yeah.
I had to pass Merrick Road. There was only two options for me. I'm a fat kid. So to get hamburgers and French fries, I had to cross over
had to
Merrick
cross.
Road to get to Pete's Diner for the hamburgers and French fries.
yeah, okay.
Or I had to go down south and pretend I belonged to the yacht club and just walk in, nonchalantly. Yeah, I need an order of fries.
Wave to people.
Yeah, hey, how's it going over there?
Yeah. Like you belong. Like if
Like
you
you belong.
walk in like you belong, like you walk in, you're in. But if you're like, you're not in.
Yeah.
That's how I get into the Cup Garage sometimes.
Just walk in?
You just walk in and I go to take my credential. I go like I'm pulling it out, because I have when it was Sprint Cup, I have the Sprint Cup thing to hold your credential, and I would just, walk in. I'd go to pull out, and the guy would just do that. Because if you're taking it out, it must be good.
Right.
And you
If
walk
you're
in
trying
like
to If you're trying to hide it, then you're not.
Yeah, if you're like, you're like, or try to walk in behind.
And we did that too. We did that. We walked in like that too. But then, my crew chief, he's there. He's got the camera. He's fuddling with the camera, trying to put a special lens on. I got to get. He's got this lens that's like 9 feet long, and he's trying to twist this thing in. And Richard Petty pushes him out of the way. Excuse me, I got to get through.
Yeah.
He's like, I just got pushed out of it. He's trying to put the camera together, take a picture of Richard Petty.
I know he took a picture of me in my car.
This, before cameras, we still had flip phones back then.
I asked him to take a picture of my car at Riverhead once, and he takes the picture. So the following week, I said, "Did you get that picture done?" "Yeah, I didn't like the way it came out. I'm not giving it to you." I said, "Who cares? I didn't like the way it came out. Maybe."
Is that what he told you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like the way it came out.
Well, he was the Uber camera guy.
Oh, yes.
Had to have the $1 million camera.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you needed a license to run that thing.
You did.
But that was funny. Him getting pushed out of the way by Richard Petty. Excuse me, pardon me, come through.
I had a friend a few years ago wanted to meet Michael Waltrip. Just wanted to meet Michael Waltrip. So I had unlimited
Did he realize
access.
how tall he was?
Yeah. And she was a tiny little thing.
Oh, there you go.
And, so because I had unlimited access, I said, all right, listen, we'll go into the Cup Garage. So we go in, and the guy at the gate stopped her, and I said, no, she went me. Okay, fine. She goes in, and all of a sudden, bam, down she goes. I thought she tripped over her shoelaces, or maybe a pebble or something. And all of a sudden, I look, it's Michael Waltrip bumped into her as he was signing autographs. Knocked her right down. So the security people helped her up, and she goes, I can't wait to see Michael. See him. He just knocked you down. Where did he go? I said, he went to the men's room. She's standing by the exit of the men's room where he just went. Well, he came out the entrance. Because a lot of people wanted to stand there with their hats and cars from the sign.
Wanted them to sign, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Take the back door out.
But then she had an opportunity. I had gone to a NASCAR luncheon, and Michael Waltrip sat at my table, so it was all good. She met Michael Waltrip.
And he was like 3 feet higher than she was.
Oh, he's like 6'8", and she was like 5 even with heels on. But it's funny, these people, and I shouldn't say these people, but people are in awe of these guys and gals that race.
And that's part of the mystique, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the issues that I have with that mystique is the fact that I'm always afraid. Because when you meet the people that you really like,
Yes.
sometimes it doesn't go your way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I'm just saying, because, you have a certain persona built up in your head.
You do.
see these people on TV, and, their personality, the way they drive, whatever interviews you see them do, and then all you have to do is, interact with them in real life.
Yes.
And something doesn't go the way you planned, which I'm perfect. That's me, or, all over. And all of a sudden now it's like everything you thought about this person was like, was I right?
Thrown out the window.
Drawn out the window, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. If people think I'm texting, I'm really not. I'm responding to people who are asking me questions.
He's ordering dinner. He's trying to
dinner.
get an Uber to bring something over.
Yeah, I didn't have an opportunity to do this during a break. Imagine that. But it is, and I remember the first time that I met Richard Petty. He was my hero from first time I
Forever.
remember
Yep, mine too.
watching Wide World of Sports as
Yep.
20 minutes of a 3-hour race.
That's right. STP car.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not have him as a hero,
And I was at Martinsville. It was early in the morning, like 6:30, and he's sitting there, just sitting there. I'm like, whoa. So I go to her, and me, because I'm kind of, I know people don't believe it, I'm shy. I really am if I don't know you. I go, I'm Mr. Petty. Yeah. Could you take a picture with me? He was right. And he's sitting on pit wall, right here. I take the picture, and I'm like all excited. I have a picture of Richard Petty. And every opportunity I got after that, I take a picture. Every time I saw him, at other racetracks. We got to the point where I said, Richard, ready for another one? Come on, let's go. And we take a picture, But the first few times I was like, it was like going up to God.
Well, he's the one who really started interacting with the fans back in the day.
He did.
And he would stay there and sign the last autograph till the last fan left.
The last guy. Yep,
And
or gal.
that's just the kind of guy he was. Now, I never met him outside of him pushing us to the side there, but
Yeah, he was an interesting individual, and he cared about the fans. I drank iced tea at Lee Petty's house on his porch one day, and then Richard stopped by, and that was a whole freaky thing how that even went down. And the old Petty Museum was right next to Lee Petty's house, because that's where the shop was when Lee Petty started it. And he's mowing his lawn, Lee Petty's riding a little tractor, and I come out of the museum, and I see Lee Petty, and I know who he is, from pictures and stuff. And I go, "Hey, Mr. Petty, how you doing?" He stops the tractor, and he comes over to the fence and starts talking to me. "Hey, how'd you like the museum?" And he goes, how about a glass of sweet tea?" "Yeah, sure." So he waves me over, sitting on the porch, drinking sweet tea. And then Richard's, I guess he went to visit his dad or whatever, and Lee says, "Yeah, Richard, he was over at the museum. He really liked it." "Oh, you did? Oh, nice." And the three of us sat there, and I'm like, I don't belong here.
you felt a little awkward
I did.
and out of place.
Yeah.
But it's that Southern hospitality. They'll bring you right into your house and feed you and clothe you. And you want to stay for a couple of weeks,
Michael
you up
Waltrip, he lived with Richard Petty when he came up to have his career, and it's funny to hear the Richard Petty talk about that. Michael Waltrip living in his house. He says, "Yep, I come home from the shop, walk in the door, back door. There's Michael's shoes in the kitchen." He goes, he goes, "And there's his dirty feet socks in the dining room, his shirt on the couch." It was like Michael got undressed
as he was walking
as
through
he
his
was walking through. And he goes, "Yeah, it was a little, even Kyle didn't do that stuff." At least he changed in the bedroom. But it was funny when he would say that. He's a regular guy. But the old-time racers did that stuff. They wore their paraphernalia. They wore their sponsorship shirts. These young kids today, I don't think they've been educated on the etiquette of being at this level and how you need to be fan-friendly.
Well, I think you're right, and I think one of the issues is probably because, hey, come on, let's buy you a car, you're going to race.
Yeah.
It's not like they, how many of these guys were bent over the hood, laying under a car, late at night in a shop somewhere, falling asleep, waking up, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, "Oh man, I got to get to work."
Yeah, no.
I don't think that was happening a lot.
No.
You know what I mean?
I don't think it was
these
either.
guys here were, they remember when they would drive in the hauler, they would load the car themselves, they would unload the car themselves, they would race the car, they would fix the car, they would brake the car. I don't think these kids, these drivers today did a lot of that.
No,
Some of them might have, but I don't think a lot of them did.
No. And I don't even think they bring their own helmet or fire suits. There's people that do that for them now. I'm just saying.
Really?
I'm thinking. Because, you would see them coming in from the motor coach lot on a golf cart, holding stuff. These guys today, there's somebody on the back of the golf cart holding the equipment. When they first get there. Because once they're there, it goes in the hauler. But, yeah, it's a whole different thing. Anyway, I think we have to take a break. We're a little overdue. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about, as we mentioned earlier, Dick Trickle real briefly.
That's not a disease, by the way.
No, it's not. It could be, but I don't think it, in this case. He had other situations. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Dick Trickle.
Hi, I'm Remington.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Dick Trickle.
That happens sometimes.
He was he was one of those guys that and we have that's a race car driver.
That is a race car driver.
Right?
Yep.
He's smoking his Winston. He's in his he's there
Fire
serious.
suit.
Oh yeah, fire suit.
He's got Miller. He's got the Winston Cup Series.
Yeah.
Goodyear logo.
You know, this is a guy now. He started out in the Xfinity Series, and when back in 1984, he had wins in '97 and '98. In that, and from that period of time in the Xfinity Series, as it's called now, he ran 158 events. And when you look at his Xfinity career, you would say, you look at it and you go, who would move this guy up to Cup? Because he wasn't really successful. And then he moved up to Cup, because he had started some races in 1970. He was 28 years old, and he did a couple of races a year, because back then they didn't have multi-million-dollar sponsors. You had to scrounge it up yourself somehow.
Especially if you were running.
Yeah. So it wasn't until 1989 that he ran full-time. He ran 28 out of 29 events. He had 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s. He had 1 pole in his career, and his last race was in 2002. He had a total of 303 starts, earning $5.4 million. He was the winner of the Winston Open in 1990, which is now considered the All-Star race.
Right.
And he was the type of guy, he'd beat you and bang you, and push you and shove you and run you into the marbles, and if that wasn't enough, you weren't finishing the race. He would make sure of it. He was that type of guy. And I can remember, my dad hated racing my whole life growing up. He thought it was a waste of time, waste of money, waste of energy, the whole bit. There's better things you'd be doing. And then, one day he just sat there and he said, I think I missed the boat on this racing thing. And his driver became Dick Trickle, a cigarette-smoking, hard-working guy. Just like my dad.
That's it.
And he had Dick Trickle memorabilia, I kid you not, in his computer room. And I don't know who ended up with it. I think one of my brothers, because it's gone. And I would have took it. I would have put it in my big giant bin of my NASCAR collectible car thing. I don't have the 124s. I have the little ones. I must have 500 or 600 of them. And I still have. It's not displayed. Turn 3 of Daytona. It's got to be this big. For those, I'll show this camera. It's got to be this big. And it has the banking.
Sounds like you caught a fish.
Yeah. He said, I thought, would you believe? But anyway, I used to have so many of these little cars that I'd put them in the turn in the points order. Now I'm thinking I had way too much time on my hands.
Sounds like it.
I think I did, because it was just what I did, And I had like a display case.
You had fun with it.
I did.
You were young at the time, 35.
Maybe 40. No, wait. When did I take it? When did I put it in a box? 2006. I was 38 when I put it away.
See, I was close.
But I think I have a spot for it now.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that.
I think I do. I think I have a spot for it now. I just have to find it.
Yeah.
I mean, all my boxes, I have boxes and totes full, and they're all marked. I have packing slips on them, so I know it's just a matter of finding which box. But yeah, Dick Trickle was his guy, And
oh, he was definitely he was the man's man racer, that guy.
he was, and then show him under caution, smoking a cigarette, sitting back, just cruising around at 100 miles an hour under caution, smoking a cigarette. Then, one to go at the line and
Throws a cigarette out the window.
he had, in the dashboard, he had a cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
And he would be cruising around, push it in, it would pop out, steer the car with his knee up. That's what you did. He was one of those guys back in the day. And that's missing today. I mean, but these young guys today, what do they just take another piece of bubble gum when they're racing? I don't know. And I don't mean to pick on you young guys that are racing. We were young once about 50 years ago. And but
I remember, I forget who the driver was, but I remember that he was relaying the story. He's in turn 3 at Daytona or Talladega or something, and he's got both hands on the wheel. He's soaring it back and forth, and he looks to the side, and there's Dale Earnhardt Jr. over there, and he's waving to him.
It's true. It's so true. And it's funny. I had met Larry McReynolds in 2000 or 2001 at the Daytona when he was the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt, and he was intense. He was an intense man. And
he's serious.
oh yeah, and
There's no funny there.
I stopped him in the garage and asked for a picture because I figured I'm not going to get Dale Earnhardt. I might as well get his crew chief. And in that picture, and one day I'll show it on the show, in that picture, you could tell he was annoyed that I asked him. So now I'm at Dover Downs, having a few adult beverages with his son, Brandon, and I'm telling him this story. He goes, he actually posed for a picture with you? You can't talk to him on race day. I said, Brandon, I got to show you this picture because I annoyed him. He goes, oh, yeah, without a doubt. And he was, I shared that story, but the man was and still is very intense.
He's focused. It's all about
without
focus.
Without a doubt. And I was never big into autographs.
The drivers were always the, fly-by-night, Tim Richmond, partying. He just showed up at the racetrack with 3 girls and he hops in the car and goes, But the crew chiefs back then, boy, they were serious.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can remember one of the first times I went to a modified race down in Martinsville, because it was the modifieds ran on Friday, the trucks ran Saturday, and the Cup ran on Sunday. And somebody told me about the Dutch Inn, that have an all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet. Now, at the time, that wasn't something I would eat. And I was like, I don't know, maybe we'll go somewhere else, we'll go, I don't know, maybe Golden Corral or something. And they're, no, all the drivers hang out there. So, okay, fine, I get to rub shoulders with the drivers. And next thing we know, because it was a big party. It was just one big unplanned party. All of a sudden, somebody goes, yeah, the sun's coming up. And guys like Richie Evans, guys in the modifieds, and Harry Gant was there, I can remember. Now, Richie Evans, I don't know how many beers he drank.
But there was a bunch.
Yeah, it was more than two.
More than two, yeah.
And off they go, and they go right to the racetrack and go racing. I'm like, whoa. Whoa.
That's what I mean. Sometimes when you see behind the scenes, it doesn't.
Man. You know.
You pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. You know what I mean? It's sometimes you know what. Before you look behind the curtain,
Right.
Think about it.
Think about it.
Do you really want to know what's going on back there?
Because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it once you see it.
And I remember the late Ira Bromley. He helped so many drivers. So many cars had parts by Ira because he worked in a parts warehouse. And again, I'm at Martinsville for a big modified race, and I have a rental car. They broke another rack on the modified. Now, for those who don't know, the rack is the rack and pinion steering. And he says to somebody, he says, "What kind of rental car you got?" I got, whatever it was, a small Ford. All right, bring it in. I'll get you in. I'll get the car in. Why? I need the rack. Took the rack out, put it in. Breaks it. Goes to he's going out to see anybody had that small 4-cylinder Ford front end that had rack and pinions in. What do I tell the rental car company? Tell them you hit a curb.
Tell them it broke.
That's what we did. That's what we did back in those days. And I can remember I blew a radiator, ISO. And not that I was a top runner. I didn't even qualify 90% of the time. But I broke a radiator. Done one of my crew guys. All right, go over. So I wanted to figure out, guys, see if they have a radiator. All right. And there was so much time between the heat races, the practice and the heat races. So he shows up with a radiator, just like the one I had. And I ran a Cadillac 3-core radiator. So just like mine. All right, put it in.
That's why they make parking lots.
Yeah. Now the show ends. I don't qualify. So we're watching the features, and I go,
pull that radiator out.
Get this radiator back to the guy who lent it to us and tell him thank you. So if they go, about 10 minutes later, they come back with the radiator. I says, he left. What do you mean he left? The party didn't start because that ISO week could party. And we partied hardy. And he goes, no, he left. So I put it in the truck and make sure nothing happens. So we'll get him next week. So we're driving along Sunrise Highway, headed back to Babylon, and there's a Cadillac on the side of the road, smoke billowing. And he goes, oh, that's the guy. He took it right out of his car in the parking lot. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The things we did. And my Uncle Johnny, he really got me into this racing thing. And I needed a battery. And the parts stores were closed. And back then, parts stores weren't open on Saturdays either. It was a whole different, guys and gals that are young, the stores didn't open on weekends, trust me. And
that's why they make the Ronkonkoma Railroad Station.
Exactly. So here we are at the Babylon train station, in my car, and my uncle gets out, and if he doesn't get out yet, we're driving, and he goes, "Guy, go slow." Now he's trying to find a car. Now, mind you, it's like 1978, 79, that the hood, you don't need to get in the car.
Doesn't have the hood lock.
He goes, "Yeah, right here." Okay. And he gets the flashlight. And he goes, all right, just ride around. Okay, I'm riding around. And he's got the flashlight, and he's trying to take the battery. Next thing I see is Suffolk's finest. A Suffolk County, Long Island police officer.
Holding the flashlight for him so he can take the battery out.
And I go around again, and I'm like thinking he's getting arrested. There's the cop with his flashlight. Help him. I go around.
That's the best way.
He puts the battery in my car.
He's got the better flashlight.
Yeah. He puts the battery in my car, gets in, he goes, all right, let's go. I said, what was with the cop? He goes, I told him my old lady flooded it and killed the battery. And he goes, yeah, I hate when that happens. And we had a perfectly good working battery when we got back to my garage. those things happened in those days back in the day. They happened, and you know, you can't forget that stuff. You really can't. And it was good times. See, when I was first, I didn't have a long one. You know, I had to do all kinds of crazy
Well,
stuff.
I'm sure there's lots of race cars out there that don't belong there.
Yeah,
Hey,
it doesn't.
Plenty of that.
I just got the word that we got like less than 2 minutes.
There you go.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
It really does. Yeah. Anything you want to say to our loyal fans out there? Because you're gonna make me crack up.
I'm gonna make.
You-
Well, I got pushed off the track once by another competitor with his race car,
Okay.
and he pushed me off the track, pushed me out into the parking lot because we had to park out in the parking lot with the trailers. He pushed me onto the trailer because I didn't have a winch. He backs the car up. Hey, Ed, thanks for pushing me on the trailer. Ah, no problem. He gets out. He walks away from the car. I'm like, you gonna leave your car there? He goes, it's not my car. He was a spectator, walked onto the track and took somebody's car.
See, fun stuff. Anyway, next weekend and next Monday is Memorial Day,
There you go.
so we're not going to be here.
We're not gonna be here.
No, we're not going to be here. So we want people to celebrate Memorial Day with their
Have a
families.
burger for me because I can't have those anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Apparently.
And remember what the day's all about.
I'm getting a nod from the control room. Maybe I can't have burgers.
Oh, you can.
Oh, now I'm getting a good nod.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
All right, we're going for hamburgers tonight then, I guess.
There you go. I'm ready.
Now she's laughing. That's not a good sign.
We have our same seat at the diner. There
At the
in West
diner.
Babel.
That's right.
But yeah, so everybody, we have a great Memorial Day. You're gonna be safe.
Absolutely. Be safe, drink, but don't drive.
Exactly, and remember what Memorial Day is all about. To remember all of those men and women who lost their lives in defending our country. It's all good. We all have stories about that. But
Well,
we'll see you.
not even defending our country, but people that have been in the service that have passed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah.
Memorial Day, so.
Exactly.
You know, even if your dad was in World War II and, you know, he didn't die in the war and, you know, he still...
They
gave
served
his-
during wartime,
served.
even not wartime.
That's right. He served the country.
But think
That's-
about those guys and
remember
gals
those
on that
people.
day.
Absolutely.
And enjoy. Have a good weekend. We will see you in 2 weeks, I believe. And and here we go. Good night, everybody, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. Be well. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Inravio.